An anomalous energy spike of unprecedented magnitude has just been detected, emanating from a deeply buried sector of Iran's Parchin military complex. The signature is not nuclear fission. It is not conventional. It is something else entirely. So the question is not if Iran is hiding a weapons program. The question is, have they built a weapon so advanced it leapfrogs everything in the Western arsenal? And have they just accidentally turned it on? The raw data is flooding intelligence channels. At 0300 hours, Zulu time, a cascade of alerts triggered across every listening post, from the Negev desert to Fort Meade. A massive thermal bloom, originating from coordinates previously associated with suspected high-explosive testing chambers at Parchin. This was not a fire. This was not an explosion. It was a sustained release of energy that, for a period of 97 seconds, outshone the thermal output of a small city. It was followed by a microquake, a tremor measuring only 2.1 on the Richter scale. But its epicenter was shallow, dangerously shallow, almost surface level, too precise, too manufactured. This was not nature. Then came the atmospheric data from high-altitude collection assets, trace elements of exotic gases, ionized particles not found in any known industrial or conventional military process. The signature is a ghost, an enigma that has every analyst at the National Reconnaissance Office working on a 20-hour shift. Parchin has always been the heart of Iran's darkest secrets. Sprawling across more than 4,500 hectares, it is a fortress city dedicated to military research, development, and production, controlled by the iron fist of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. For decades, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, has suspected Parchin of housing the very activities Iran swore it had abandoned, the development of a nuclear weapons trigger mechanism. They played a shell game with inspectors for years. In 2015, before the ink was dry on the nuclear deal, Iran was caught engaging in a massive, frantic sanitization effort at the very site the IAEA demanded to inspect. Satellite imagery showed bulldozers moving earth, entire buildings being razed, tons of soil being scraped away and replaced. It was the frantic cleanup of a guilty party, trying to scrub a crime scene before the investigators arrived. They were hiding something then, and they are hiding something far more significant now. The sanitization then was an attempt to hide the past. This new anomaly suggests they are trying, and perhaps failing, to contain the future. Because the energy spike and the gas telemetry do not align with the historical evidence of a simple fission device. The old program, the one Israel's Mossad so brazenly exposed with their 2018 raid on a Tehran warehouse, was focused on mastering a 1980s-era implosion device. It was dangerous, but it was known physics. It was a problem with a defined, albeit difficult, solution. This new data is different. It's alien. It represents a quantum leap in capability that has Western intelligence agencies scrambling to rewrite their threat assessments in real time. They are no longer asking what Iran could build. They are now faced with the terrifying reality of what Iran may have already built, deep beneath the sanitized soil of Parchin. That is the rehook. A single, chilling intercept, leaked from a source deep within Israeli intelligence just minutes ago. Two words that change everything. Phase 2. To understand the terrifying significance of that phrase, you have to understand what came before. You have to understand Project Ahmad. Project Ahmad was the codename for Iran's original, clandestine, military-run nuclear weapons program. It was a sprawling, top-secret enterprise initiated in the late 1990s with a single, undeclared goal: to produce 5 10-kiloton nuclear warheads and successfully miniaturize them for ballistic missile delivery. It was the state's most protected secret, a program so compartmentalized that many within Iran's own government were unaware of its full scope. The project was officially ordered halted in 2003 under immense international pressure and the shadow of the American invasion of Iraq. The world was told the project was over. The files were archived, the teams reassigned. That was the official story, the public narrative. The lie was exposed in January of 2018. In a daring cinematic raid, Mossad operatives broke into an unremarkable warehouse in Tehran and smuggled out a half-ton of intelligence, 55,000 pages of documents, and another 183 CDs of data. It was the complete, hidden archive of Project Ahmad. Blueprints, Simulations. Schematics for a nuclear implosion device. Proof. Irrefutable proof that Iran had lied to the world for more than a decade. The archive proved the world right, but it also contained something far more disturbing. It contained the roadmap for the future. The project was never truly dismantled. It was simply put into hibernation. It was broken into smaller, deniable pieces and buried even deeper within the IRGC's Special Projects divisions. It was a strategic retreat, a preservation of knowledge and personnel, waiting for the right moment, the right political climate, to reactivate, to begin Phase 2. What we are witnessing is not just a rogue experiment at a single facility. We are witnessing the awakening of a monster, a black site Leviathan. This is not a program run by the civilian Iranian government. This is an IRGC deep state operation, a parallel structure with its own funding, its own command, its own scientists, completely firewalled from international oversight and diplomatic processes. The Parchin anomaly is merely the first visible tremor from this subterranean beast. It's a network, with Parchin acting as the weapons physics and testing lab, Natanz and Fordo providing the fissile material feedstock, and a dozen other black sites handling everything from metallurgy to electronics. The central nervous system of this Leviathan was, until his assassination in 2020, a man named Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. Fakhrizadeh was the Robert Oppenheimer of Iran, the father of their nuclear program. He ran Project Ahmad from the shadows for 2 decades. When the project was officially halted, Fakhrizadeh and his core team of weapons scientists simply moved to a new organization, a front company, to continue their work under a different name. They were the keepers of the flame, the core, as they are known in intelligence circles, a dedicated cadre of specialists who possessed the institutional knowledge to not only restart the old program, but to evolve it. Fakhrizadeh's death was a major blow, a tactical victory for his enemies. But a program of this scale, this importance, is never dependent on a single man. It's designed for redundancy. The core survived. A new, unknown leader was appointed, and their work continued, now with a burning desire for vengeance. And the evidence suggests their work has pivoted in a terrifying new direction. The energy signature from Parchin is the key. It is the single piece of data that does not fit the Project Ahmad puzzle. The thermal bloom, the specific gamma-ray spectrum, the isotopic traces, none of it is consistent with a plutonium-based implosion device. That's old tech. That's Fakhrizadeh's original work. The telemetry from the anomaly points to something he was only beginning to research in the final years of his life. Something that exists mostly in theory in the West. Compact fusion ignition. Let's be clear. This is the holy grail of weapons technology. Fission, the technology behind the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and modern atomic weapons, works by splitting heavy atoms like uranium and plutonium. It's powerful, but it's messy, requires rare materials, and produces tremendous radioactive fallout. Fusion is the power of the sun. It works by forcing light atoms, like hydrogen isotopes, together under unimaginable pressure and heat, releasing orders of magnitude more energy. For 70 years, the only way to achieve that pressure and heat on Earth was to use a fission bomb as a trigger. This is how a thermonuclear weapon, an H-bomb, works. It's a massive, 2-stage device. But what if you could bypass the fission trigger? What if you could use advanced high explosives, powerful magnetic fields, or high-energy lasers to directly ignite a fusion reaction in a tiny pellet of fuel? You would have a 4th-generation nuclear weapon. A weapon that could be small enough to fit in a backpack. A weapon with a variable yield, meaning its explosive power could be dialed up or down. A weapon that produces exponentially more energy than a fission bomb of the same size, but with a fraction of the radioactive fallout, making it perversely more usable on a battlefield. It would be a weapon that is incredibly difficult to detect before detonation, because it doesn't require a large signature of special nuclear materials like plutonium. This is the terrifying truth of Phase 2. The IRGC's core is not trying to build the bomb of 1945. They are trying to build the weapon of 2045. They are attempting to leapfrog 70 years of strategic weapons development and create a technology that could hold the entire world hostage. A technology the West believed was purely theoretical, confined to supercomputers at Los Alamos and Lawrence Livermore. And the data signature from Parchin suggests they just conducted their first full-scale integrated test. The initial chaotic energy spike has now subsided. For the last 40 minutes, our assets have been tracking a new phenomenon. The site is emitting a low-frequency, repeating energy pulse. The interval is precise. 1 pulse every 3.6 seconds. It's not the signature of a meltdown. It's not residual heat. It is coherent. It is structured. The seismic event was not a failed detonation. Our analysts now believe it was the catastrophic failure of a magnetic containment field. They were attempting to achieve ignition, to create a miniature sun for a few nanoseconds inside an underground chamber, and for a moment, they lost control of it. The tremor was the shock wave of a plasma containment breach. The test failed, but it also succeeded. It proved their physics were correct. Inside that bunker, the surviving scientists are not seeing failure. They are seeing data. They have crossed a threshold. They have captured lightning in a bottle, even if the bottle cracked. Now, they just need to build a stronger bottle. And the new rhythmic pulse is the signature of the system rebooting. The capacitors recharging. The diagnostic sequence of a machine of unimaginable power preparing for its next attempt. The signal is not random. It's a beacon, a heartbeat, and as it pulses from the buried depths of Parchin, it is being heard. At this very moment, encrypted, automated systems at U.S. Space Command, at the Nuclear Command Bunker in Cheyenne Mountain, and aboard every Ohio-class submarine currently on patrol are receiving a high-priority, automated flash message. It has bypassed human analysts. It has gone directly to the strategic threat response systems. The message contains only one directive: a preloaded contingency plan for a scenario they thought would never happen. A preloaded contingency plan for a scenario they thought would never happen. Its code name is Tempest Fury. But this isn't just an accident. The signal from Parchin isn't just a trigger. It's a key. It is broadcasting on the exact encrypted frequency required to activate it. How could they possibly know? The answer is the final, most chilling piece of the puzzle. They didn't steal the key. They forged it. The West built its strategic security on a foundation of unbreakable encryption, a lock so complex it would take a classical supercomputer billions of years to pick. But the same revolutionary physics that powers a fusion device can also power a new form of computation. The new, unknown leader of Iran's weapons program isn't just a physicist. They are a ghost, a master of a new digital warfare we are only beginning to comprehend. They didn't find a backdoor into our systems. They built a new kind of door. Tempest Fury wasn't triggered by accident. It was hijacked. The protocol is now unfolding exactly as designed, but on an enemy's timetable. The system designed to prevent a war is now the very mechanism starting one. Across the globe, the first stage is activating. It's not a missile launch. It's a silent, digital decapitation. Power grids in allied nations begin to fail. Communication satellites are being fed corrupted data, rendering our smart weapons blind before they are even deployed. The second stage is physical. Automated orders, authenticated by unbreakable codes, are being sent to assets in the field. Stealth bombers are being moved onto tarmacs. Submarine commanders are receiving targeting data for preemptive strikes. Each step is logical, defensive, and perfectly calibrated to escalate the situation towards an irreversible global conflict. This is the new front. It isn't a line in the sand. It's a line of code. It's a battle fought in nanoseconds by algorithms we can't control, for stakes that could not be higher. The bomb at Parchin was never the true weapon. The real weapon was the signal it sent, a declaration that the old world, with its old rules of deterrence, died the moment that pulse was first detected. We stand on a precipice. The technology that promised a future of unlimited clean energy has been weaponized to create a new kind of apocalypse, one that begins not with a bang, but with a silent, cascading system failure. The heartbeat from Parchin is a countdown, and we don't know what it's counting down to. The front lines have been redrawn. The nature of conflict has changed forever. To understand the threats of tomorrow, you need to break down the news of today. Subscribe to Breaking_the_front and join the watch.